Hello, I am Yogini Sunita, and this is Meditation, Yoga, and Stuff podcast. I believe my dharma or my life's purpose is to share my understanding of meditation, yoga, and Ayurveda, holistic healing science of India. I make these amazing wisdoms accessible and adaptable for present times. So let's start.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today's topic is the power of mindfulness, tips for everyday life. So, what is mindfulness? Let's start there. So, mindfulness has become a buzzword now. All of us know that the word mindfulness, but what is it exactly? So, mindfulness is basically a state where we help our mind to focus our awareness into present moment. And we do this without any judgment. So this is very layperson's explanation. So let's dive deep into it. So what is the mindfulness and how do we do that? Let's start with mindfulness encourages us to pay attention to our current thoughts, our emotions and our sensations. So we can focus on our what's happening in our body. We can focus on any physical sensations. We can focus on our thoughts, our emotions. All these can come under mindfulness. And what it does, it helps us to connect with present, with in this moment, in this now. Why do we need to do that? Because most of the time we are either in past or future. And what it creates, it creates that almost disconnect from ourselves. So mindfulness helps us to bring back into this moment, into this now. And when we are fully present in this now, we start tuning into our life more. We start really seeing that sometimes our mind views the stories about future, or we can get stuck into memories of past. So how do we come back into this moment? So there are many ways to do that. What if we start observing our thoughts and mind goes into judgment and it goes into its own tangent and it goes into spiraling? So here the beauty of mindfulness is we just gently observe without any judgment. The thought rises and we notice it, we acknowledge it, and we do not do anything. It is not good or bad. We do not label the thought. This is the non judgmental attitude which helps us to accept our experience as it is. And this way we connect with ourself more deeply, because if there is no judgment, we are really connecting with the experience itself rather than good or bad, because our mind tells colorful stories. The way we store this information about our past is a lot of it has a coloring to that story. Our emotions colors our memories. It's not really what has happened, but we remember it in certain way to make sense of it. And this is where we can get stuck into those emotions rather than the memory, actual memory. Because we can actually just store few percent of that information. And to make sense of it, brain need to have emotion colors to this memory. And to make sense of it, we are designed to do that. But a lot of time we get stuck in these hodgepodge of emotions. How we can let go of our past, whatever is not serving us, is basically let go of this coloring of the thoughts and the emotions attached to that particular experience. So when we just notice the thoughts as they are, as they rise without any judgment, our mind actually slows down and we start noticing gap between our thoughts. And we start noticing that there is a beautiful stillness there. And that's what is beauty of meditation and mindfulness. We also can focus on our breath. And when we start focusing on our breath start deepening. The beauty of observation of the breath is that we anchor into ourselves. The moment our breath becomes deeper, we start oxygenating our system more. When we oxygenate our system more, our brain start functioning to its fullest. We start our whole being have more energy. So just few moments of mindfulness towards our breath can connect us with our breath, and that can bring us into present moment. It stops wandering of the mind. It may take some practice because mind is like unruly child and we never discipline it. So it is doing whatever it wants to do. But with these mindfulness practices, we gently bring it back into present moment. We do not force anything. We do this very gently guide the mind into this present moment. And when we do that with a lot of compassion and a lot of love and caring, the mind start tuning into present moment more and more. And this helps us to let go of whatever is not serving us. This helps us to connect with present moment, be more aware. And wisdom of yoga, awareness is the key. Awareness, when we become aware of unnecessary chatter of the mind, when we become aware the story our mind tells us, when we become aware that we are either in past or future, it is time to bring ourselves back here in this moment. We become more productive, we become more caring, compassionate. We let go of a lot of unnecessary burden which we carry. So when we start acknowledging our feelings and thoughts, we start noticing that we can actually release unnecessary story behind it, and we can actually release hold of these stories from our being. We also can practice mindfulness with mindful action. Even simple thing like washing your dishes or gardening, we can do very mindfully. You can choose your favorite activity, like really become aware of that. It needs to be a mundane activity. For example, it needs to be something as simple as washing dishes, which you do regularly, and you pay a lot of attention towards flow of the water on your hands. You can become aware of really in staying in that present moment. The more you'll observe, the more you will become mindful in that action. Another thing we can do is eating mindfully or walking mindfully, or whatever work you do, really bring mindfulness into that. We become aware, consciously become aware of what we are doing. And that is what mindfulness is. This means doing those activity with full attention and intention, and you start noticing that we actually slow down. When we do this activity, we pay attention to it, and we do really wonderful job. Really, we are very productive when we do mindful action. When we eating mindfully, we actually digest food really beautifully, and also we don't need that much of food because the mind and the body is now fully satisfied. When we start eating mindfully, we chew the food, we really become observe where the food is coming from. We observe the color of the food, taste of the food, pay a lot of attention towards to who created this food, how this was created. All these things we start tuning into and really become aware of the food, and that completely satisfies us. Also, mindful walking is a very beautiful meditation practice where we completely slow down the walking process. You can also connect with the nature if you want when you're doing the mindful walking. There are many ways to do mindful walking. The one I was mentioning was a Buddhist meditation where you slow down each and every step so much that you are connected with every sensations when you are walking. It's a really beautiful practice. You can also connect with beautiful music. Notice the sensations rise in your system when you listen to these music. There are so many beautiful practices you can bring into your life to become aware of present moment. What it does, it helps us to reduce stress and anxiety because we are in present moment. Anxiety comes from the worry about future, and depression comes from the worry or when we are stuck into past. So when we are in the now, in this moment, in this breath, in this moment, we are connecting with our self, true self. We don't get involved into the present or past. We just become 100% present in this moment. And when we become present in this moment, you'll notice that the stress reduces. We are responding to the situation more gently. We are emotionally more aware, mentally more aware. We are tuning into what's happening in this moment. And this way we can improve connection with ourselves and with our surroundings. So mindfulness has so many amazing benefits. This is something which we need to cultivate. It is not something which will happen just like that, but a daily practice can help us so much. And everyday tips, my suggestion is set aside some time of your day to do the practice. Choose a practice which you feel connected with. You can tune into maybe, for example, washing the dishes or going for a walk, and you can decide that that will be your mindful activity. What this does, it helps us to find peace, it helps us to reduce stress, and increases our overall well-being, because when we become really aware of this present moment, it is a magic, it is beautiful way to incorporate these mindfulness practices into our daily life to reduce anxiety, improve mental clarity. You can enhance your emotion regulation. What does that mean is we become more aware of our emotions, and we also notice that sometimes we have these reactions happen to certain words or certain people. When we start noticing that, we become aware that what is the cause of this, and we can actually become aware of that cause. And sometimes it can be really silly, sometimes it can be very deep, but when we become aware of that, we can actually let go of that response, that negative response of our emotions, and we can unstuck ourselves from that situation, and we can regulate our emotions. So we become more emotionally intelligent. We can increase our focus and concentration, because this happens because the chatter of the mind is reduced. We in this moment, in this now, we are connecting with ourselves, so naturally our breath deepens, and all this is doing is oxygenating our system. We have become more aware. It increases concentration, and we have better focus. Our mind become really sharp and active because it is not worried of future or stuck into past. So it helps us, our mind, to let go of a lot of stress, and it helps us to basically declutter our mind. This is also really wonderful for relationships, because if you bring mindfulness into your relationship and you become aware of what's happening with other person, and you start from the place of compassion, naturally any relationship in your life will improve. When you are 100% present for that person, then you're giving them really amazing quality time. So in those moments, you are fully present, you are really aware, and you are giving your presence to this person. And when that happens, that person can sense it energetically, and it helps us to have better relationship in our life. This can be really wonderful, to really listen to the people around us, really pay attention to what's happening in their life, as well as how is your reaction to their words, their thoughts. And you can really become aware of that, and you can improve your relationships. So practical things, what can we do every day is, I suggest that whenever you remember, gently deepen your breath. Now when I say deepen your breath, people go into like a big breath which is not going deep towards the lowest part of the lung. So what I suggest is, when I say deep breath, actually slow down your inhale and slow down your exhale. And imagine you're breathing into all the way towards lowest part of your lungs on your inhale, and you're exhaling from this lowest part very slowly. slow, steady, long inhalation, slow, steady, long exhalation. It doesn't have to be big sound. In fact, the slow, steady, long inhale and slow, steady, long exhale, only you may know that, So it is not a big sound. It's very slow inhale, but it is at the same time filling your lungs completely. And when you're exhaling, you're doing very slow exhale where you're emptying your lungs completely. And you really become aware of this breath. How many breaths you can decide, maybe say you have few moments, you can just do 4 to 5 breaths whenever you remember. I suggest some of my clients that have a something like maybe a plant or something in on your desk. If you're working, you can have plant or something on your desk, and you can whenever you look at that plant, you are doing your slow deep breath really mindfully, really become aware of your breath. 4 to 5 breaths at once is quite beautiful. You can do more, but in my experience, 4 to 5 breaths is quite sufficient, and you can do as many times in the day as you want. This is one of the practice you can take into your everyday life. Another practice you can do is mindfully eating. So you're really becoming conscious of the meals you are eating, really become aware of flavors, the texture, and eating without distraction. Try not to eat when you are watching TV. You're also eating with conscious awareness towards the amazing taste and flavors and textures and the colors of the food. And this helps us to digest our food better. Also, setting time aside for the meal rather than eating at your desk, making it a positive ritual can help rather than making it just another task. So, make sure that your mindfulness eating is you can keep some time aside. If you go outside in the nature, if you can, and have your meal there, that is also quite beautiful. Another thing you can add is having your morning routine. So in Ayurveda, the morning routine is very important because starting your day with a positive note can really change your whole day. You can decide what you want, how you want to start your day. It's really up to you. Ayurveda suggests quite few things. I have done few episodes about that. But you can actually create your own positive rituals. You can set intention for your day. You can set tone for your day. Have a really positive start of the day, whatever that positive is for you. And have this morning ritual. You can start with maybe few breaths like calm, steady breathing, full deep breaths. You can start there, and then you can move towards working with evacuation of your bowels and working with some maybe cleansing whole body, and then meditation or physical movement, whatever is right for you. But have these morning rituals as your go-to positive practices that will be really start your day on positive note. Then mindful walking, any time of your day, if you can include beautiful nature walk, this is going to help you to connect with the nature, at the same time connecting with yourself. A lot of time I have seen people using their earpods or headphones to go for walk, and I always wonder, like, is it mindful? Definitely not, because they're utilizing the time, and I understand that as well. So maybe once a week or something, you can add a mindful walking instead of using the headphones. Then digital detox is another thing I can suggest, is maybe at least 30 to 15 minutes before you go to sleep. I used to say 1 hour before you go to sleep, but my clients have informed me that that is not possible for them because we are quite addicted to the phones, our screens. And so rather than fighting with that and feeling guilty about it, how about half an hour to 15 minutes? And digital detox, you can, whenever possible, put away your devices and engage with the present moment. Engage with people around you, engage with the nature, connecting with your breath, whichever way you can bring the mindfulness into your life. Another suggestion I have is mindful listening, being really present when you are listening to others. And this is really good in your day-to-day life, in your relationships, in relation to your work also. It is very important. It's very important to truly listen to the other person. And we learn so much. We learn so much about that person. We learn about what really they are saying, and we can actually respond them more deeply. A lot of time our own thought come up, and before even the person stop talking, we start responding this person. I suggest that avoid thinking about your response when they are talking. Really pay attention, and your response will be really mindful when you listen deeply. I always say the gratitude journal, which is very powerful thing to do. So at the end of the day, if you want, you can have a gratitude journal, which is writing maybe 5 to 6 positive things happen to you that day. And this way, the gratitude journal can be really beautiful, because then we are thinking of positive thoughts, and we are taking those positive thoughts, those what we are grateful about, we are taking that with us when we sleep. So we are actually neurologically saving the feeling of gratitude in our system. And next morning, you will see that your next day start on a positive note. So bringing that gratitude journal practice can be very, very powerful. It shifts our focus into what is positive in our life, what are the positive aspects of our life. Then also mindful pause. Mindful pause is something when you feel overwhelmed or stressed, take a short mindful pause. Maybe just, if possible, you can close your eyes or find a non-moving point in front of you and just tune into your breath. Take one deep breath and come back to present moment. If closing eyes is not safe or finding non-moving point is not comfortable, you can just focus on your breath. You can continue maybe looking wherever you're looking, but connect with your breath for a second. Ground yourself, and this will help you to bring that state of mindfulness into your life. Mindfulness is very simple yet a powerful tool we can have in our life, which will enhance our life in so many ways. When we incorporate mindfulness into our life, you'll notice that the stress reduces. It has a transformative power. Mindfulness is not just a practice, it is a way of life. So if you take time to be in present moment, you will appreciate world around you fully. You can find sense of peace and balance into your everyday life. Every day when we practice mindfulness, it can lead more peaceful, more happy life, more life which is full of love and compassion. You start enjoying nature more. You will start making positive lifestyle choices. And you will focus on what really makes your heart sing. And to understand that mindfulness really helps us to understand what makes our heart sing, what is really true joyous activity for us. Because every one of us are different. So what is a joyous activity for you may be different than mine, and that's okay. But when we really become aware that what is joyful activity for us, we can come back to it. Because a lot of time we are bombarded with this should be your joyful activity. This can happen from the commercials, or this can happen from the social media, that this is what the true happiness is. But when we become aware, mindfully aware, we start noticing that the true happiness, your true happiness, is maybe different than what is projected out there. So coming back to your joyous moment, and mindfulness will give you that understanding that what really is enjoyable for you, what brings you peace and calm and love in your life. So I hope that this helps you to bring mindfulness into your everyday life. I hope that these tips are helpful. If you want to book mentoring session with me, feel free to book that. I will add the link into show notes. I can design practices for your need. Feel free to connect with me and let's take it from there. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that you're taking this time out of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye for now.